Hi, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Hello, hello.
We are so happy y'all are here. Welcome back. Welcome back. People are still coming in. But we'll go ahead and get started as people continue to come in. So as you know, these meetings are here to help. We're moving to a bit of a change. Is everyone in our school group? Yes, thumbs up if you're in school. Okay, great. Great. So everyone in school, there's lots of great conversations happening there. Ron has made some amazing posts there. Your people are asking for feedback, so please hop into school if you haven't already. Maria, will you put the link to school? Perfect. Perfect. That's our community. We have some familiar faces. Kimberly, Diamond, Jan, welcome back. Orain, thank you for coming again. Candace, we're really happy that you're here as well. So we're going to hop into it. If you would like, please put a bit about your business and where you are located into the chat. So where you're located and your business in the chat. We have a number of PitchDB team members here. And there's a lot of full intros that happen in our school community as well. So our plan for today, we're going to talk about some of the wins you all have had. We're going to talk about any questions that you may have, and then we're going to go into some pro tips around crafting a good pitch, even though we have the PitchDB app, but we'll talk a little bit more about that. So would anyone like to share? Would anyone like to share their wins? Any wins over the past week or so? Everyone. How has pitching been going?
I have been pitching more podcasts since last week's session, which prior I wasn't pitching any podcasts, so that's a win.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we count that. We definitely count that as a win. Mike, how are things going for you? Oh, sorry, Kimberly. We'll come to you right after.
That's okay.
No, everything is good. I just had a quick question.
Sure.
I just signed up for the Done For You service.
Oh, perfect.
Yes, I'm very happy about that. And I was wondering, I don't know if anybody here, if you could help me out with this question. I was wondering, is it like more of a targeted, or is it just kind of just a mass sending, kind of like, my niche is more, work from home wellness, posture ergonomics.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been getting like responses from like, moms to be blogs, I mean podcasts and things like that. So I want to know, is the service actually kind of targeted or just kind of a general blast?
It's targeted based on the topics that is based on the topics that you submitted. Did you create, like, fill out a form, or like?
I did the branding kit. I didn't do any forms or anything like that.
Yep. So in the branding kit, you put the topics in.
Yeah, I put like, fitness, pain management, things like that. That's why I was surprised when I got these things back from like mom to be blogs. I was kind of like, podcasts.
Yeah, I think I went and I looked at your stuff, Mike. I got your message and replied to you on Instagram.
Oh, okay, check it.
Yeah. So basically, whenever you put in work from home, it brings up a lot of different things, right? So it could be, and then here's the thing. I'm sure mom's back's hurt too. My wife's, her back hurts all the time. She's always saying she needs, something like that, right? So, but moral of the story is we get that fine tuned for you, right?
Okay.
I think with Lindsay last week, we had to do some fine tuning with what Lindsay was doing and to get him dialed in. But ever since then, that's just been going. You don't lose any of those credits. So if we've already sent out, say, 25 or so pitches and they weren't properly targeted, we just dial it in and we get it right for you, right? We want to keep you for a
Oh,
long
okay.
time. We're
Okay.
not here just to say, well, we sent it. Oh well, no, that's kind of stupid, you know. We're not that kind of that type of business, man. We want to make sure that it's going to work, because
Okay.
the only way you're going to talk well about us is if we get you results.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay.
Right.
Thank
So
you.
yeah,
for
let's
clarifying that.
figure it out. After this call, you and I should just stop in and dial in. I saw you had like maybe 15 or 16 keywords. We just need to dial it into more specific things so it's not
Okay.
going so broad. Sorry for
Okay.
jumping in, but I just didn't
No,
want to.
that's perfect.
No problem. No. Thank you. Thank you.
No, that's perfect. Anyone else we're just going through any questions people may have or what's working, what's been working.
I have a couple wins.
Yes, please
I've had
share.
responses to my podcast pitches, so there's a couple things getting set up. So
That is huge. That's a really big deal. We're so happy for you. What was your process? Did you like listen to them ahead of time? Like,
I listened to some snippets,
okay.
and I made sure that they were actually interviewing people, because some of the people are not interviewing people. So yeah, so I pitched them, and some responded like the next day, so that was awesome. So yep.
So I'll tell you one of the things that it's getting better. It's not 100% yet, but in the filters, there's a button that's on automatically called interviews only, which basically will show you the podcasts that we think have interviews, right? And we're using some AI to determine if there's two people talking on it. That's how we kind of figure that out. But that's going to get better over time to be more accurate, but it should weed out a lot of the monologue interviews. I mean, the monologue podcast where it's just one person talking.
Another thing I do is I look at the title of each episode to see if it says someone else's name, because typically they'll title it blah 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 with so and so. So that's what I try to do as well, just to ensure that they do have other people on the show.
Yep. Now, let me say something really simple. And I know it's going to sound stupid, right? But it's the simplest thing ever. You can take the spaghetti against the wall approach and you'll get something, because you throw some spaghetti against the wall, something's going to stick, right? But the most accurate results are going to be for the people that put in the most time refining what we already give you, right? So the AI will suggest some things, but then if you go in and you see, no, this one is probably better, I should do this one, that person's going to have probably double their results just because they invested that little bit of time, right? So, it's no different than anything else, whether you're polishing jewelry or you're washing a car. There's a difference between a car wash and a car detail, right? You can drive to the car wash and the AI thing will spin and clean your car, but it ain't the same as if somebody hand washes it. And it definitely ain't the same as if you get like what they do at the, what are those things at the car dealerships where they clean the seats, the carpets, they get in there with a little blow brush and everything. So your level of success will increase the more fine detailed you are in selecting.
Well, and Ron, can I share, if I would, you know, the topic that when I was searching, like social impact, and because what we're really working on this year is human sustainability of our business, what we do and how we help others. I really took the time to read what their podcast is about, and the standard I had was I have to really feel connected to what we do versus what they're talking about. Yeah, I could have gone and just hit send and just see what sticks. But for me, that's not fruitful activity. It doesn't feel like fruitful activity. And, we, in our business, we work with people in career transition. And so they say, well, Jen, I sent out 300 resumes this month. Okay, well, that was your first problem. You were just throwing things out. You weren't really engaged consciously to what and emotionally to what that job was. And it's the same thing when it comes to the podcast. Like, I really have to feel connected to what we're doing and what they say they're doing. topics. I like Oren said about reading what their topic title is. So that just is what's been working for me. The quality of the people that I'm connecting with and the shows that I'm a guest on is taking me further. Like they're referring other people to me.
Yep.
They're saying, hey, Jan, you gotta, I need to connect you with so-and-so. So it's not just, I'm going to be on a podcast and that's it. I'm creating, this initial connection of taking that extra time to feel connected to what I'm doing and who I want to pitch is really bearing greater fruit to connections after that. And we're doing projects like this one pitch that I did. He's in Taiwan. We may be writing a white paper together. So it just really, to me, it's more fruitful to be engaged up front and to take the time to do that. That's just my opinion and my experience.
Jen, I 100% agree with you, right? What I have no debate about that. You're like, we should make that a poster. If we could record that and make that a poster video, right? And the reason that I want to make this clear is our first issue was just getting people over the fear of pitching, right? So we're like, look, what can remove that barrier? Well, if AI writes the pitch, AI kind of matches you, at least that removes the basics, right? But now that we've done the basics, you can take it and make it intermediate or advanced from that point. Does that make sense? And those people who go beyond the basics will always outperform those who are just going to do, hey, I just want to do something in 3 minutes. Cool. You're going to get a different result than the person that took a half hour and thought through what they were going to say and all of that. But our biggest fight was against nothing. Our biggest competitor isn't another pitching company.
No.
Our biggest competitor is nothing.
It's
is doing
us.
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm just not going to send anything. Well, all right, well, I can beat that person. I can kind of use some done for you stuff, right? To kind of get over that hump. But after that, it's that little fine detail, right? And I think that makes all the difference.
Well, I think, and to your credit, Ron, the platform that you provide, the service as far as the AI, the quality of the AI in the pitches. And to me, that's what got me over the hump. I'm like, oh my God, like that was the best thing since sliced bread. I'm like, this just takes a load off of me. And it's such good quality of pitch, of the writing of it. And to me, that's really what excited me more, was it made it so easy. It was at a high quality or a standard that really helped me feel more confident to hit the send button. So kudos to you, Ron, and your team, because really your whole package of what you bring, yourself and your team, and your passion for what you do and the quality of the service. I'm one of your biggest fans, because it took your product and service to get me over the hump of saying, okay, I don't need to make this difficult. They got high quality pitches. They got great opportunity here with all the podcasts and the associations. I just need to dedicate the time and emotional connection. It gets me excited every time I play with it. So that's why I look at it as play. It's really fun. So thank you, Ron.
No, thank you, Jan. That's all right. The meeting's over. That's all we needed to hear. Get back to pitching. We're done for the day, buddy. We're not gonna mess this up. It can only go downhill from here, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Ron, I'd like to echo what Jan is saying. This is Denise. I was super impressed with the way that AI was able to extract from what the pitchy had to offer on their podcast or their magazine or whatever the platform was, and then also read the information that I had in my branding kit and married those things that actually married. And so I've had incredible success with that. I didn't have to do very much editing at all, because it really spoke to the sentiment that I would have delivered to that particular entity should I have written it myself? And so, like Jan said, it saved me time, it saved me energy, and more than that, it's been successful. So thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you for what this means for us as folks who are trying to expand our platforms. You're doing great work and we appreciate it.
Yeah, so all of the AI work, thank you, Denise, for that. All of the AI work is really Carlos's fault, right? So Carlos and I, we kind of have an idea of how we want things to work. And we Carlos, Ezekiel, and I, we argue about different things and different features all the time. And my biggest reminder every week is, hey, our main user is over 50. So don't be making this super duper complicated stuff, because make the fonts bigger. Like I'm almost 50, so I feel it. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna be 50 in like 3 years. Like this needs to be easy for me. I don't want to think through it. And so I give a lot of the credit to Carlos and the dev team for being able to translate what I say into what I get from you guys, and then I have to take it to them and then making it real. So I would love to take the credit for it, but it's Carlos and Ezekiel that really make that work. And the simplicity of how things look, that comes from Maria, right? So, I'm just the dude out front who gets all the blame, but all the credit is deserving of our team for the work that they do. So Ange, anything else? What's
yes,
the next
anyone
part?
else?
We've been
Well,
silent.
I wanted to see if
Like
anyone
those
else had a
awkward
question.
silences are
I
weird,
know, I know. I have to get better at that. I've been doing that my whole life. It's just silence. No, does anyone else have any feedback on what has been working well for you? So Jan said being more targeted in her pitches. No? Okay. We have
I'm sorry, Angela, can I ask a question? So like if
Sure.
we come across like I had a couple of and I know I think I forwarded them to you, like when we pitch and say it comes up that the person is no longer there, or
Mhm.
it doesn't go through because of either the wrong name of the person or whatever, what can we do to support you? Do you want us to send information? Do you want to know that information? I just don't
Yes.
know. I come from
Yeah.
a medical device background, so I'm always, we always wanted our docs or the user to send us that information so we could update our system. So I just didn't know what I should do, and I didn't want to irritate you by sending it if you didn't want it.
No, we do want it. One of the things that we had in the past was a report contact button, and we removed that in the latest version. We actually need to add that back, because let me tell you what happens mechanically. Or Ezekiel, do you want to talk about what happens with invalid emails before they make it into the wild? And we call the wild, meaning you are allowed to send it, right? So Ezekiel, you want to explain? I don't know. He just walked away. He quit, right?
He's
Right?
gone. I'm out of here.
Yeah. Do you want to go ahead and explain the process of validation and how we try to prevent the emails from making it to sending, and then what we can potentially do um, to help with those that go out that make it through? About I would say 1% of the emails that are sent, they some of them slip through validation, meaning we validated ahead of time, but they still make it through somehow, right? And it's just, we don't know when someone switches jobs. So that's the hard part. But I'm doing Ezekiel's job, so I'll let him talk about it.
Yeah, we basically have two validations in the entire process. One is the first one that we have when we add the contacts directly to the database, that database that you then search for. And after, whenever you choose to to add the result as a contact and to pitch them, we do another validation to check if the email is active. And as Ron said, it's a small percentage, the one that goes through as deliverable, but when you send it, it's actually not deliverable. but like 98% of the time, that checks goes through. So you could, as a user, encounter that situation. And what happens is that we pop up a message saying, hey, this contact is no longer available. We remove it from your contacts and from the results in the backend. That way, other users won't see it and won't have to contact them, go through the same process, right? So that way with your usage, we clean up that debate constantly.
Yep. Yeah. So that's basically what happens. I know there was a bit of an echo. So what he's basically saying is that whenever you get a pop-up that says the email is invalid, because we validate each individual email real time before we allow you to send to it. So if you ever get a pop-up that says this email is invalid, we don't take the credit from you, but we remove it from your list for you. And then we take it out of the search results so that nobody else can pull that one up again. Right? The ones that you're mentioning, Jan, are the ones that made it through that verification process. And then you had to send the email and then it came back to you on the back side. Right? So we probably get, I would say, 15 of those a month that make it through, but we send close to 8,000 pitches a month. Yeah. Right? So we know that it's just a give and a take. We need to put that button back, the report, the email button, Ezekiel, so that we can verify those, because the report email button was kind of a hazard at one point, because someone could just go in and report all the emails and just blank out the database, right? So we have to find some type of somewhere in the middle where they can report the email, we can validate it, and then figure it out.
Ron, can I have a question? There's this one pitch, this podcast I've been trying to pitch, and it won't go through. It gives me an error message. And I'm going to try it again today because the positive energy, I'm like going, okay, I'm going to try. This is the one that I'm excited. I really want to be on this podcast, and it just won't go through. And so it's not like it comes up an error message. And so anyway, because I think I sent a picture of it before, but I said, okay, I'm going to figure this out. But so if it won't go through and it's not showing up like invalid, what do you think?
I'll go get the email for you, right? To make sure you can pitch that podcast. We
Oh
will make
man,
your
I'm here
dream
to
come
chat.
true. We'll go get your email. We'll go get it for you.
Thank you,
Right?
my friend. That was so kind of you. Yeah, if it's possible and if it's meant to be. So thank you.
Definitely. We'll go get that data for you. If I have to personally do it myself, we'll get that email and then the contact person for you.
You're kind.
Because
Thank you.
We need to be able to add them to the database so everyone else can pitch them also, right? Yep. Any other questions about the validation process or pitching or how we can make the experience better for you? Candace, good to see you hopping in, trying to see who else is in for the first time. I think that may be Laura. Laura, I think this is your first time joining us, so we appreciate it. Any other questions, concerns, feedback? I'll let Angela take it.
So we had, some of you all received in the newsletter, this 15-minute coaching session, right? You could sign up, fill out the form, and you have to be here, obviously. And there are a few of you here, so we want to address those questions that you all had. So Candace, you filled out the form regarding the 15-minute coaching session, and you specifically asked about, when asking what business challenge are you facing, you asked about getting more responses. And then some of the ways that you've tried to fix the problem is through personalization and deeper searches. How can we help you more with that?
Thank you. So I'm wondering if it's just a numbers game. I've been doing what everyone has mentioned here, being a lot more targeted in my pitching. I will admit a little bit, I was like, oh my God, this leaderboard is making me think I have to send out 1,000 pitches per day. I ain't got that kind of time. So let me be a little bit more strategic, which I have been. And I've been testing some of the AI pre-written emails. I've been kind of shaping it. So I'm testing a couple of different pitching formats, but I have not received any responses through the platform. I have outside of the platform though. So I'm just
Yeah.
trying
So,
to,
so the responses will always come outside, right? So PitchDB is really the first domino, right? We're like, send the pitch. You're going to check your phone more than what you'll log into PitchDB. So the responses come directly back into your normal Gmail or Microsoft that you've connected. Does that make
oh,
sense?
no. What I mean is, when I identify opportunities outside of the platform, I get
Ah, okay.
responses. That's what I'm talking
Gotcha.
about. So
Okay.
yeah, so I just was wanting to, pull from the insights of the
So,
people that have been doing it. Because the other thing is I'm going to be focused on pitching associations. So
mhm.
I saw you guys had released an article on that. So I wanted to dig in a little bit deeper into what I need to think about in pitching them.
And it's Candace Jackson Long, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know if you have two accounts, but it said you haven't sent any pictures when I look in your thing.
I have, and that's the other thing too. I
Ah,
don't know. I think there was a changeover in my account or something because
okay. I think it's the way that the counter works. So Ezekiel, we'll talk about this later, but I think it's a bit confusing because the counter reset and it says she still has 74 pitches, but it says 0 cent. So we'll fix that. We got to fix the way the counter works. So you've been pitching associations, it appears, right?
I've been pitching conferences and podcasts. I have
Yep.
not pitched associations yet, but that's what I'm going to be targeting next.
Okay. All right. And there's been zero response from any of those pitches that you sent?
I've only gotten one so far. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So why don't we do this? Let's set up a time outside of here and I can walk you through some of the different things that I think can improve. So volume is a big deal, right? So we know that one out of about every 5 podcasts that get pitched, if you just do a decent job of searching, you'll probably get a positive response for a booking, right? And when it comes to associations and speaking gigs, it's usually going to be I would say 1 out of 25, right, will get a positive response, but usually it's not on the first message, right? So it's the second message that makes the difference. Does that make sense? So the follow-up is really important. Follow-up is really important because we all get emailed all the time. We're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get to that. And then we go do something else. We never go back to it. And then you get the email, hey, I just want to put this back at the top of your thing, wanted to follow up. And then you're like, oh yeah, let me just reply to them right now. Right. So follow-up is really important. Now, I'm gonna do a little sales training real quick. Can you allow me to share?
Yes, sorry about that. You should be able to
See.
share now.
Yep. Right. So I'm going to share this with you because I used to run a company, but when I first started, it was called 5 Contacts. And the reason that I called it 5 Contacts is because when I was a sales manager, we used this stat all the time. And this is a game changer, right? So we'll go through these different statistics really quickly. So 48% of salespeople, in which you are, when you're pitching yourself, you're a salesperson, they never follow up. So 50% of people are just never going to send anything but the first pitch. Does that make sense? 25% of people will make a second contact. 12% of people will make 3 contacts. Only 10% of people follow up more than 3 times. Does that make sense? But let's look at the results. Only 2% of deals are done on the first reach out to somebody. 80% of them are done on the 5th contact or more, which is why we named the company 5 Contacts, because I'm just going to keep following up with you. If you think, look, I know y'all and I follow up with y'all quick. Imagine how much I bother people I don't know, right? Like, just keep following up, right? So, but not that I'm being annoying, but it's, just being persistent, right? If 80% of deals are done after the 5th contact, right? We don't charge you we don't charge you another pitch to send a follow-up. Just by sending that follow-up, you increase your chances by 50%. But it goes up by like 800% if you just hey, I just wanted to follow up. The best follow-up email on the third time is, hey, even a no is okay. I just don't want to keep emailing. And they'll say, oh, no, no, no. I just been busy. My bad. But these stats here, right? You can beat half of your competition just by sending a second email. Does that make sense? Right? So I think that that's important to follow up. The fortune is in the follow-up, right? You know,
Okay, that definitely helps. I know I followed up at least twice, but I didn't get past 2, so.
yeah. I mean, and if you just send them, hey, just wanted to follow up, you know, maybe I'm reaching out to the wrong person, right? That's a great thing. Hey, if you're not the right person, can you at least push me in the right direction so I can stop bothering you, right? Because they're empathetic to you, understanding, like, yo, come on, man. Nobody really wants to be rude to anybody, right? So as long as you're kind of being respectful to them, your responses are usually pretty good. Now, let's see something. I'll show you something outrageous, but I got to pull it up first so I don't show.
While you're pulling that up, if I can ask a question, because
no questions. No, I'm just playing. Go ahead.
The AI written version of the emails sometimes tend to be long, and I was wondering if there's a science behind that. Because sometimes in some pitch sequences, I've seen like start off with a short, maybe like a longer one with a link to like your speaker reel or something like that, and then it'll get shorter as the sequence goes. So I was just wondering if there was a science behind that thought process.
So what we've done is that we've basically said, hey, let's kind of be in the middle, because I'll show you. I'm going to pull up a campaign here that we did for someone, and we literally were sending one sentence and got them booked, right? But we also have campaigns where we sent longer emails and got people booked, right? So I'll show you an example of this. Right. So this is a good friend of mine named John. And this is when we first started, right? So this is like a campaign that's 4 years old, but I think it kind of explains what we're trying to explain. So we were testing this out. We're like, dude, let me just see if I can get you booked. So we sent 69 emails, 34 of them got open, 20 of them responded back to them. And let's look at the people that responded back, right? So the leads that replied, and then we can mark it as a lead. Is a lead? Yes. Right. Meaning that they said something positive. I mean, we're talking about marketingprops.com, which is a big website, Forbes, Inc., Moz. I mean, these are big conferences, right? And this is Jasmine who replied back. Hey, John, here's the link to apply to the gala, which is when you're pitching things this large, this is what you're going to get back. But what most people are usually surprised by is what we actually say, right? So with this, John was like, yo, what would you send to your grandma? I used to call it the grandma email. Like, if you was going to reach out to your grandma about going to coming over for dinner this weekend, would you send her your logo and tell her about all the other grandkids and how you're better than them? I was like, no. He was like, so just send something like that. So this is what we said. Hey, I found the Inc. conference. Are you still looking for speakers? I would love to be considered. Want to hop on a 10-minute conversation? Or you open to a 10-minute conversation? And he got 20 responses out of 34 people that read it. Right? So there's a balance. You can't send a longer thing, right? But you can send something small. If they're, hungry people eat. So if they're actually looking for speakers, they're going to reply to you. If they're not, doesn't matter what you send to them. Does that make sense?
Yep, it does.
So, I'm a firm believer of like sending emails that are like text messages, because if you look in your phone, you probably have, I'll use myself as an example here. Since this morning, I've gone through and cleared them, but in the last hour, I have 60 unread text messages. I mean, unread emails. Right? I don't know if you can see that. And I got 108 voicemails that I ain't never listening to, but I got 2 text messages, right? So I replied to the text messages because they're quick. I can just read them. Ain't nobody write me some long paragraph, right? So if you can keep your emails succinct, it really does work, right? And everybody wants to, should I connect my what's the thing everybody, should I send my one pager and it should it be like this? And I'm like, you should just send something, right? And I'm going to show you why. One second. Archived, and I want to show you this campaign from Chidi. Chidi is a guy from Canada that we work with. And one of the things he was like, dude, if you say one sentence work, say one sentence. Challenge accepted. This is what we said. like, hey, you're the right person that would make decisions about bringing me in as a speaker, or should I contact somebody else? He got 90 responses from that. Right? No picture. He didn't even have a photo in there. We just cheating. Right? So the activity is all that matters in reality, right? But so why do we send the medium-sized message? Because we've sent long ones that have worked and long ones that didn't work. We sent short ones that worked and short ones that didn't work. It's really what you're comfortable with. My personality is I'm sending this, right? Because I just want to get to the point. Like, either you like me or you don't, right? I don't want to sit and debate with people. But this worked for Chidi, 90 responses, right? So I think trying to find the right email, the perfect email copy, is like trying to find a pickup line when you were 16. Come on, man. Either she likes you or she don't. You can say roses are red, violets are blue, and she still may not like you, bro. So it's just how life is,
That helps. Thank you.
Yeah, just follow up, Everybody's been asked out on a date multiple times. You're like, dude, I'll go if you leave me alone, right? One of my mentors, his name is David Price, and Angela can tell you the story. I think I emailed David for 3 years, right? And his reply was, let's go to breakfast tomorrow. Stop emailing me, right? And we went to breakfast the next morning. Literally, this was 6 o'clock the next morning. I was there like, yes, let's talk, right? And we've worked together now for almost 6 years. But it took me 3 years of just following up. Like, hey, he was like, dude, I was sick. I wasn't even working anymore. I was retired. I was going through a lot of different things, but I'm glad you followed up. So it never hurts. Does that make sense? Just to go for what you want. Was that helpful or no?
It does. Thank you.
Great. Okay, good. We have a couple more people who are on this call, so we can address those as well. Lynn asked about the business challenge that Lynn is facing is getting my name and story in front of a bigger audience. And then what are some ways you've tried to fix that problem is through word of mouth marketing. Lynn, do you want to talk about that issue and we can offer some ways we can help? And maybe some other people are having that same issue. Lynn, it looks like you're on mute. We're not sure if you're trying to speak.
So I'll help with that, right? So it depends on what the outcome is that you're looking for. One of the easiest ways to get in front of more people is to buy their attention, advertise, right? For $100, you can be sure Facebook will put you in front of 5,000 people for $100, right? If you have a YouTube channel, YouTube will charge you a penny a view, and you can put as much money into it as you want. For $100, you can get in front of 10,000 people that will watch. They will force them to watch your videos, right? So if your goal is just to get in front of more people, the easiest way to do that is through advertising. Does that make sense? But if you want to be more effective with the people that you help, right? The easiest way to do that, I think, is through podcasting, right? So I'm gonna pick who here is a speaker that has a okay, Candace, right? Candace, can you do 4 speaking gigs in a day?
Oh, that's a lot. Virtual, yeah, if it's virtual.
No, 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 no. Live on
Oh,
the stage.
oh God, no, that's too much.
No, right? Right. And what's the largest live audience that you've ever been in front of?
About 300 people.
Okay. Right. So those are great numbers, right? So a lot of speakers, they want to be on more stages, like more live stages, right? And I ask, well, why is that? Well, I want to get my message out to more people. Well, you get your message out to more people just by doing more virtual stages, as Candace mentioned, just by hopping on podcasts. You can do 4 podcasts in a day and it won't even exhaust you, right? Because it's just 4 conversations. And the average podcast has 431 downloads. That's for the average ones. So if your largest stage live is only 300, and I'm not picking on you, I'm just using this, right? If your largest stage is 300 people, why are we opposed? Why are we trying to go on the podcast that got 100,000 downloads? Right? We're just not good enough to be there yet. If I mean, seriously, we're just not good enough. I'm not good enough to be on those podcasts. And I do a lot of podcasting, right? But as I get better, those people will make those recommendations to me. Does that make sense? Because the Joe Rogan isn't accepting a pitch out of PitchDB. He's Joe Rogan. He's gonna pick who he wants, right? And the podcaster needs to know that you got the goods to help their audience. So they don't want to bring an unproven person on because they're gonna look you up and see how good you are. And if you don't really have, they go to your website looks bad, and you don't appear to be a thought leader on LinkedIn, they're like, no, we don't want this person. So you got to kind of prove your way and work your way up, right?
Can I
And
add something to that too?
yeah, go ahead.
Your own platforms. So if you're not posting content on your own social media, like your own platforms are your platforms. And that's one thing I had to learn was I'm looking for other people to give me an opportunity on their platforms, and I'm not using my own. And what I have found is when I pitch for opportunities, they look at my own platforms to look for examples of how I speak, my content, things of that nature. So I think the first opportunity that most of us overlook is leveraging your own platforms.
Yeah, leverage your own platform and run ads to them. Boost the post. Get in front of more people. Actually know what you're talking about. I worked with somebody who said that they were an AI expert. And I'm like, all right, I ain't an AI expert, but I know enough. And I said, so tell me, like, how do you all use embeddings? They were like, what are embeddings? I'm like, you don't know nothing. Like, if I can stump you with the basic stuff I know if you go on an AI podcast, you are dead. You're gonna embarrass yourself, right? This is gonna be a blooper reel, right? But the people go and they validate who you are. So all I'm saying is you can get in front of larger audiences by pitching larger audiences, but be sure that you're ready for them. I think I do good on Zooms, but if you put me on Good Morning America tomorrow, I'm dead because I don't know which camera to look at. I ain't never been on TV on purpose. I've been on the news, but I ain't never been on TV. You know what I mean? So there's some training that's needed and some getting bettering that's needed. And the question I would ask is, the long cut, everybody that I know that has done really well, like The Rock. Let's look at The Rock, right? Do you remember when The Rock was a wrestler 20 years ago? Everybody just sees the 300 million followers today, but they didn't see him being a wrestler that was getting booed out of the arena when he first started, right? But everybody is selling, hey, I can make you this in 60 days just buy my $18,000 course and you'll be, and it's like, nah, that person didn't even get there that way. They worked for 7 years to get to the point so that they can be who they are. So I think you can get in front of bigger audiences, but just work your way up into them. It's better for everybody, right? Did that answer the question? Lynn isn't here, but I think that that's kind of the best way to think about it, is earning those audiences, not just, make me famous. It ain't the podcaster's job to put you on. They're
Yeah.
putting you on the show because they got guests to entertain. I sponsor a bunch of newsletters. They didn't just put me in there because they like me. I had to give them some money. I had to pay for that advertisement. Right? Now, hopefully something comes out of it, but I had to give them, they looking out for themselves. They're like, one guy, he told me no. Like, he's a guy that I really admire. And I got an email back from him saying, what you do doesn't match the things that he supports. And I'm like, dude, that's harsh. All I do is help people to get booked on podcasts.
Yeah.
I see him on podcasts all the time. He's like, this just doesn't align. Right? So I could have cried about it. I just went and got on his best friend's newsletter instead. Like, I didn't get on yours, but I got on your buddies. So we're talking to the same audience. But just know that your audience is wanting you to have the goods also, right?
Yeah, Brian, I think you made a good point. I think that was a really great example that, like, one person doesn't make or break your opportunities. Like, if one person says no, or if something you really want doesn't happen, you just keep going.
Yeah, like, dude. One deal ain't
4-letter
gonna make
word
you.
next, right? 4-letter word next.
Yeah, I got a bunch of other 4-letter words I say to those people too. I just keep them to myself, but I definitely think them. When I got that email, I was over here like, because I had just told Ann, so I'm like, I think
Yeah.
they replied back, it's gonna be great. And
Yeah.
they was like, no. I'm like, but his
Okay.
buddy said yes. So we in
Yep.
his buddy's thing. And
Mhm.
it's working.
100%. Kimberly, you reached out this morning. Will you please share your concern? Ezekiel, we're going to need you for this one.
Yes, thank you. So I log out of PitchDB when I'm done. And when I want to start again, I log back in. But what's been happening is, even at the beginning of the session or during the session like today, I get that email that I get the message when I try to pitch that my email has been disconnected, or I have to reconnect my email. So email connection has expired. So that's happening even during the time that I'm using it.
Yes, the Google has, just like Outlook, but Google is a bit more restricted in some ways, has some policies, and whenever you create an account and connect your social Google account with the application, you get an expiration time in which this connection can be made correct for security purposes. Now, if you try to, probably you are an older user, right? Like, you've been with us for some time now, or when did you?
A few months. Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, whenever you try to give permissions to us, to the application, PitchDB from Google, they can shorten the amount of time the expiration has. So basically, they can ask you to connect, and this expiration will last 1 hour. And in the next hour, yeah, they will ask for permission so we can send the email in your behalf. It's security policies that Google has, and yeah, we have.
So here's something that I'll show you how to remedy this, because I have to deal with this too. Let me know if you can see my screen. So basically, all you have to do is come in, and there's usually a red button here that says reconnect. And if you just click that, it should reset and give you like another week or so. It's okay. That's the point I wanted to make. All right. Yeah, that's what I was trying to make sure. I wanted to see if you had followed that step. So even when she clicks the reconnect email, the orange button, Ezekiel is not reconnecting. Is this something, can we talk about this outside so that we don't, so we can get, because I know we only got 10 minutes left, but Ezekiel, can you hop in with Kimberly and try to solve that technically, you or either Miguel? because I know we only got 10 minutes before we head into overtime, and I want to make sure we can address everything within the hour.
Sure.
So there's one more. There's one more question worth someone who's on this call who asked, and that's Mike. Mike asked about the business challenge that he's facing is getting the word out about his brand and what he does on a global scale. And then
More podcasts. Go more podcasts, man. Podcasting is the cheat code. Like, think about it. You're going to get in front of your target audience. Everybody that is here today, you here because you saw me on a podcast. We don't do Facebook ads. I just go on podcasts. Or somebody that you know saw me on a podcast and sent you an email about me, probably linking to a podcast interview that I did with them. So you came through Pam Perry, BSN, Steve, Ramona, all of our partners that I've been on their podcast. That's how we all know each other. Odell Bazell. That's how. So I'm proof that you can build a decent business just by being consistently in front of the right people. I don't want to be in front of a lot of people. I want to be in front of the right people, right? So a sale happens when three things happen. You have the right message in front of the right person at the right time. I'm okay with it not being the right time. I got a problem with I'm talking to the wrong person and I'm describing what I'm doing wrong. Does that make sense? I don't mind it not now. Because I can work with that, because I can get you back down the road. I can follow up and see if it's a better time down the road. But so don't worry about the volume as much as talking to the right people. So Mike, we'll get your pitches dialed in a bit better so that you can be in front of the right people. But here's the other thing. Let me say this, because I think this is important. What happens after you're on the podcast?
I was going to ask you.
Right? What's the next step? Right? So the great thing about me is I've messed up a bunch of podcasts. So I was willing to go on and say, you know what? I'm going on a bunch of them anyway, so it don't even matter. I got to figure this out. I got to figure out what my call to action is. So one of the things I wanted to make sure is that people can find me anywhere. So I own Ron Story Jr. everywhere. Right? If you go to the .com, the .org, the .ing or whatever, I own them all. Right? That's on LinkedIn, on Facebook, whatever platform. Because I only wanted one call to action. I didn't want to say, if you want to get my book, go here. And if you want to get my course, go here. And if you want me to speak, go here. They ain't remembering none of that. One call to action. Right? And that one call to action should be free so that you can capture that person's email so that you can follow up with them down the road. Does that make sense? So I always tell people, hey, follow me on LinkedIn. Now, why do I want people to follow me on LinkedIn? Because the professionals got LinkedIn. And the speakers who are really serious about speaking got LinkedIn. So they go find me on LinkedIn and they send me a message and they say, I saw you on Chantel's interview. I saw you on YouTube when you was with Steve Ramona. Cool. That's my call to action on every podcast. Ron Story Jr., follow me on LinkedIn. You can find me on any other platform, but if you're on LinkedIn, follow me on LinkedIn. Because I know that that's a different person than the person on TikTok. Because I ain't on TikTok. I ain't doing that. You ain't going to find me. I ain't doing none of that stuff. We ain't doing that over here.
You know what, Ron, what I like about what you just shared is it's about you. You know, it's real easy when you're an entrepreneur, you're looking, you know, me, myself, I sometimes have to catch myself and say, oh, this person has done this. So they advertise this way or market this. No, where do you feel your home is? Meaning LinkedIn or, you know, some people Facebook, right? But you have to ask yourself, where do you feel that connection and where do you engage yourself? That's really the biggest piece. Like I know, you know, Better Job Fit, you know, we have a marketing guy that we're on every platform. Well, I got to be honest. I I don't resonate with all those platforms. I really resonate in LinkedIn or on LinkedIn, right? And to me, that's kind of just to your point. You know, you're not on TikTok. You're not, you know, that's not where you feel the groove, right?
Yeah, and here's the other thing. We all get, I love the PitchDB logo and the name. PitchDB got 13 followers, okay? People don't do PitchDB because they like the name. They do it because they talk to me, right? So when you're small, you're the brand. You just got to accept that. Until you're super duper big and everybody else is banking on the reputation that you've already built, you're the brand at the beginning. So give them your name. You know why? Because your business is going to change. 90% of first time entrepreneurs fail within the first 12 months. Okay. 90% of all entrepreneurs fail after 5 years, no matter how much experience they have. But you know what ain't changed? In all the dumb businesses I've started, you know what hasn't changed in 46 years? My name. So they can just follow me and see what other stupid stuff I'm working on next. Right? So just give them your name because you may be working on this today that may not be the right fit, but they like your attitude and how you approach it. But in 2 years, you may have the thing that knocks them dead. Does that make sense? So I'm a firm believer that when you're small, don't be telling them your business name. Tell them your name. They're going to remember you. They want to do business with a person. That's why all of y'all got my cell phone number, right? Because I'm like, look, I'm a person. I want you to tell me no. It's easy to ignore PitchDB. It's hard to ignore me, who's just been nice to you and tried to help you in every way. Look, dude, I earned that $97, whatever y'all paid. I'm just being real. Like, someone asked me yesterday, would you get on a phone call to sell somebody something for what was it, $49? I said, dude, we used to charge $19 for PitchDB. I'm like, I get on the phone with anybody that's willing to listen to me because I care about the mission that I'm on. Who cares what the dollar amount is? You know, watch this. Every time you do a sales call and don't nobody buy from you, you did that for free. So why wouldn't I get on a call with somebody who gave me $97? I did a bunch of them with idiots for free who told me no. So at least I could do is get on with the people who paid me.
Yeah.
So it's just removing our arrogance and our own insecurities to say, I'm the brand. Tell me no. Tell me no. Like, don't, you can say, I don't know. People all the time say, I want to cancel my PitchDB account. Perfectly fine. Should we delete you and not send you anything? No. Still send me the emails, but just cancel my account. I like what you be talking about. I just don't want to use PitchDB right now. Perfect. I made a friend for life. Does that make sense? So just know that you're the brand. So when you go on these podcasts and somebody's looking for you 5 years from now, if they're looking for, you know, long distance consulting, I'm just making up that name, Candace. I know that's not the name of your business, but let's say you called it long distance consulting. You may not even be running that anymore, but you still gonna be called Candace. So use your personal brand. That's what PitchDB is about. Personal brand is forever. It is forever. It ain't going nowhere. But your business name's changing, you know? Got it? Is that all right? We're in overtime. That was my thank y'all for listening to my TED talk. Anything else as we go into overtime?
For those of you who are new, overtime is 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central. When you're welcome to leave if you want, but we typically stay 15, 20 minutes more if people have questions. So,
Yep. Laura, is that a goodbye or is that I have a question? Okay.
Thank you so much, Laura.
Yeah.
The recording will be
come back in the future. Right. So yeah, hopefully this was helpful. Yep. And we're here for you. I mean, you want somebody to look over your website, whatever, we got. I think everybody who's here now has been here before. So this is like the core group that shows up every week. Arain, Jan, Mike, Dave, Jennifer Dixon. Jennifer's never answered any questions. If you're listening, we're here for you, Jennifer, if you ever need any help. Lynn, any other questions before we hop off? Anything we can help you with?
Ron, I will shoot you a message in chat later.
Yep, perfect, Mike. Yep, we'll get that taken care of. Yeah, anything else, guys? We got some cool stuff we're working on. We'll be able to tell you about it in the next few weeks, but a lot of cool new features. You know, if you may be able to upload some data pretty soon. You may be able to upload all these lists y'all been buying for people. You may be able to upload them and send them inside of PitchDB before you know it. You know, Arain, you work with Odell, right? Is that how we know each other, or is it through BSN?
Through BSN, but
Through BSN.
I've recently heard of Odell, and I've been on a webinar too from him.
Yeah, Odell sells this thing that gives you like 30,000 leads for speaking gigs.
I did buy some leads from him
Yeah,
as
see,
well.
yeah,
Haven't used them yet, but I have
I'm
bought
waiting on somebody trying to upload all these damn leads that they got from Odell to our system. You know, but yeah. So, all right. Any other things we can help you all with before we call it a day, guys? It's been another good week, but you're the brand. Arain, man, that should be your. I would cut the
cool
Williams
name.
off. I would just be the first part. 5 letters, arain.com. If you don't own that, I'll sell it to you in about an hour when I buy it.
I never thought about that. I might have to go get that now. I
Yes.
never thought about that.
Yeah, man. Come on, man. That's like, come on, bro. Like, that's 5-letter domain.
Rain International. Somebody
Yeah,
has it.
there's a beauty supply. You do lashes? Arain out here
Ray,
doing
look
lashes.
how quick they were to steal your first name.
That's it. I told him I wasn't lying to him. I'll never lie to him. I told
You
him
gave him warning.
I was gonna buy it and sell it back to him for like $1 more than what I paid for it. You know? I was gonna buy it for $10 and sell it to him for 11, right? But any other questions, concerns? No. All right.
Nope.
Well, I'm gonna dip
Right.
out and get back to
Thanks,
working.
everyone.
Talk
Thanks,
to y'all later.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.
5-minute debrief.